Welcome in to Country Home. So, as you might have saw in our other previous video, we just recently put together this new raised bed. So, in this area, we've been basically doing compost in situ. We've been putting a lot of our plant material, covering it with some of our rough compost, and over time, that material has decomposed. But you know, when it's a mound, it's kind of round, it's hard to plant. So we decided we'd just build a frame here, build a quick bed that we built in one of our other videos. So we're in the process of just taking some of our soil from this area. I'm going to show you how we clean it up. We basically have our wheelbarrow here. We just put since this is rough composting material, we just put a few scoops there on our frame. And basically we just shake it. As you can see, all the smaller material fell through, and then we usually just keep the bigger chunks, which we in turn take and put back in our compost and recompost. So let me set that there. So what you're left with, is a finer grade material. There is still, as you can see, there's wood chips in here. There's some hay in here. A lot of finer materials. So that's pretty fertile, but that in itself is not really good for this bed because it can get compacted. So what we usually do, it's one of the few products we usually buy, is peat moss. We usually buy a bale of this. You can get it in any big box store for about $9 a bundle, or a bale, I guess it's referred to. So we usually take this. There's no nutritional value in this. It just holds moisture very well and helps to fill and break up the soil. So we'll usually, and like I say, this is compost material, so it's pretty well mineralized, but we go ahead and get this in here just so the soil doesn't get compacted down in a bed. So usually get a bit in there, and I like to go ahead and just take that and blend it into this material. Takes a minute to get it blended in. Peat moss is extremely dry, so it takes a lot of moisture. Put a little bit more in there. Get that blended in. We have quite a few buckets here because we took all this out of this area, so we'll be putting this back into the bed here shortly, which we'll show you. But now you can see how that's just kind of broken up that soil. It's kind of changed the texture of it a little bit when that gets incorporated in, and it'll help it hold a little bit more moisture as we're gardening. So on top of that, we'll also while we're mixing that up, we'll go ahead and take our hori. And this is best done on not a windy day, but this is azomite rock dust. So it's got a lot of natural minerals. So we'll go ahead and get that spread into there as well. This would also make a fairly nice potting mix as well. we'll get that incorporated, and then we'll just go ahead and take this and put it back into our beds. And this takes a minute to do because we have a lot of soil to get mixed in with this peat moss. And as you can see, we still have some of our, as we sifted that material, we put some of our rougher material at the bottom of the bed, which is fine because this bed being that height, the roots are only going to go down on most things this far. This material will decompose, worms will come up, eventually this will sink, and we'll keep adding to the top. But by putting this here, it'll make a really nice fertile planting base for any vegetables or seeds you're going to plant. So as you can see here, we got a ways to go. Got a lot to fill back up, but as you keep going, it just makes a nice loose, firmer, not too hard. It won't even compact, which is what you want. You don't want to have your soil come back. Of course, it's not very wet yet. We'll wet this as we go to get moisture in because peat moss is extremely dry. But while we're doing this, just thought, we kind of have to take this material up anyway to install the new bed, and it would just be a way to repurpose the soil and kind of mend it, since we're having to tear into it anyway. I'll also probably put in, this is 30 inches by 10 foot, so that's 25 square feet. So I'll probably put in a cup and a half of just a multi-purpose fertilizer. Don't need to put it down. Don't need to put it down here. Just I'll put it in the first, the upper six inches or so of material, just to help get the plants off. But this stuff is pretty fertile on its own. So this screen is just simple to build. It's just quarter inch hardware cloth with a simple frame. Set it on your wheelbarrow. Put all your material on. Shake it. Coarser stuff stays on top. You recompost that, and this is how we sift our regular compost as well. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of this in. And then we'll just continue this process with all this material. Hopefully it'll get the bed fairly full. If it doesn't, then we'll probably top it off with some of our other compost. But I just thought I'd show you, like I say, we've been just stacking material up here probably for now 2 years. Just, our okra plants or anything like that we have left over. Green matter material, we put some hay in here. We've covered it with rough compost, and we just build it up. But like I say, it doesn't really get flat for a good planting area. It kind of gets more rounded. So thought we'd build a bed, but we're going to go ahead and sift all this out and reuse it for sure, because it's a lot of material. It took a while to compost. So just thought I'd show you how we're going to fill this new raised bed, and here in the future we'll get something, the soil is going to be pretty loose, so we may actually put carrots in here for this fall's planting. So maybe we'll bring it back when we do the planting, but just thought show you how we're going to repurpose our soil and re-mineralize it, and we will put some fertilizer in as well. And peat moss is good to try to break it up so it's not so compact, and it's also great for holding moisture. So just so I show you quick how we're going to fill this bed, and I'll see you next time from Two Country Home.